are you doing the bare minimum? Are you finding the right people? Are you getting the attention that you need? And so for a beginner that's just kind of starting out and needs to like build a network, the network is everything, right? All your work, all your money, everything that's going to come through to you is through your network.
How are you supposed to visualize, okay, if I have 7 days of the week this week to work on this, and I should only actually be dedicating 20% of my time to the spec, what does the rest of that week look like?
Yeah, let's just buy 2 red Komodos because they just came out. They're like sick. And then we started shooting with it for the project, and we're like, this is not even the right tool for this project.
Yeah, the file
We just
sizes
wanted to
are
buy
huge.
stuff. Yeah, so we spent like $30K or whatever at that time with like all the gear and accessories and all that stuff. Like, and then we just had 2 red Komodos sitting there for no reason.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Unfold Podcast. Today we're going to be doing a Q&A episode. From all the questions that you guys asked in our comments, we're going to answer them. We're going to get right into it.
So, what's the first question?
So the first question comes from Jay Elias. Hi, Jay. And he asks, he says, I'm in a weird spot. Last week, I had a meeting with a talent agency from my country, one of the greatest, and they are interested in my work. I still don't know if that's the best way to keep forward, but the fact that they're considering my name to be on their roster is amazing to me. But at the same time, I'm in a really bad financial moment right now. This year, I went full-time as a filmmaker, and the last months have been awful. No more savings, no gigs coming my way, living from my credit card every day, and I'm deeper in the mud. It's crazy. One day I get attention from the people I look up to, and the next I'm applying for poopy jobs in my area.
Yeah.
Sorry to hear that, Jay.
Sorry to hear that, Jay. This is a very common thing. And it's happened to us in a variation before. And so this is something that is probably very common to a lot of people. So I'll tell you the story of what happened for us. When we were coming up, a lot of the work that we were coming to us was us going out there to grab it and get it. And so in the beginning, we were trying to get good. We were trying to get good very fast. And like, how do we do that? We just got to like work at more projects, right? It was like a repetitions game, numbers game. And then eventually we got to a point where the work that we were putting out, the spec work, everything that we were doing was still the 4 of us, right? Me, Justin, Adrian, and Zach. So we put our work out there. We were doing a little bit of everything. And then we started getting noticed by agencies and more specifically like another production company. And then for a brief moment, about like a year and a half, we were actually pseudo rep by them, right? And I say pseudo because we weren't like fully on the roster, kind of like what Jay's talking about. But they wanted us to work with them, and they were going to send us jobs, and they were going to be able to like say that we worked underneath their umbrella.
That sounds pretty good.
It sounds pretty great, right? It's like, oh, we could just continue doing what we're doing, and then we could just make more money on the side doing these other projects.
Yeah.
And we knew going into this, not that I was like overly cautious about everything, which I am. More so, I knew that the rep and agency world is very finicky.
It's not all you think.
It's not all glitz and glamour. And so the thing is, knowing that ahead of time, I had been already talking to other people and being like, you're repped. What does that look like for you? You're repped. What does that look like for you? And the overall consensus typically is that you're not going to get that many jobs from the agency or the rep. And
Why is
so
that?
the thing is, agencies only get, like, say production companies only get X amount of jobs, right? But the problem is if there's 20 or 10 different people that they're repping and you almost overlap with someone else and maybe they have a stronger portfolio than you, then what happens is you're likely going to be the B tier option. You get the stragglers.
The ones that the top guy doesn't want.
Top guy doesn't want, busy, on vacation, whatever that is.
Yeah.
And then you might get that. And only if your portfolio matches up with that type of work. Because if a brief comes in for a production company and it's about cars, and you've never shot cars before, and you don't even do the narrative format that they do, then you're just not going to be put up for that. And then it feels like for you on the outside, oh, all these other people getting so much work, and I'm not even getting anything. And so it's a two-sided approach where the production company needs to go out and find the right work for you. That's part of the game, but it doesn't always work out like that.
Yeah, that makes
And
sense.
so I've heard stories, and personally I've talked to these people of like, they've been repped and then they don't even get a whole job, like one job a year, maybe. And one guy I knew was like 2 years, didn't get a single job. And the problem with being repped too is you typically get a non-compete, non-disclosure type of thing,
Yeah.
where you're with that agency and you can't do any other agency work.
So like no other production companies or agencies can reach out to you.
Yeah,
for
they
your
can't use
services.
you because they're like exclusive, right? It's like an exclusive relationship. So if another agency is like, oh, I have this other bid that would work perfectly for you, but you're already signed underneath another company, then they're like, I can't even pitch that person. So sometimes being solo or being like a freelance in that sense, like freelance director, is actually a benefit to you because then you get to be off rostered, right? Which is just meaning like another production company can come to you, talk about you, sell you, and then you can be sold underneath different production companies. So all that leads to with the conversation with Jay is that the first part is that talking to an agency is kind of like a weird situation sometimes because things feel like they're going up in an upward trajectory, but in reality, like Jay was saying, it's like in the back end, it's like, oh damn, this is actually a bit of a struggle, right? Because these production companies are looking for like pure directors. All they do is directing. All they do is that. They don't do any like videography work or anything else. They're just like solely locked in on that.
Yeah.
But the reality of production and filmmaking is that like you need to make money somewhere.
So what should you
And
do?
yeah, the best thing you can really do is, and you guys might not love this and love to hear this, get a job.
Get a job. What does that mean?
It means to go out there and fill out a job application and find something that like you can find stability in. So the hardest and the biggest lesson here is that it's very difficult to be creative when you're backed up in a corner.
For sure. When you're stressed out, like your brain just isn't working to its maximum potential.
There's like a sweet spot where it's like, okay, I'm still safe and I'm good for a while. And I know it's like coming up soon in terms of like, oh, maybe I need more money soon. And like, I can just keep building. But when you're in like credit card mode like that, and you're just like, oh man, I don't know how long you can't think properly, right? There's no creative ideas. Like you could do more spec, but it's not necessarily going to be the best approach for you to make money.
Yeah.
So and this again, there's nothing wrong with having a job. That's just like, you need to make money, right? Like if you have things to pay for, your rent, you have like responsibilities in our family or whatever.
Sure.
It's like, it doesn't make sense to make these giant gambles when you have responsibilities.
Yeah.
Sure, when you're a little bit younger and you're just kind of like, even myself, like I don't really have like kids or dogs or anything. So like, I don't have to be like extremely locked in. It's like, I can just focus on the business and growing the business out. Right. And for someone like you, Jay, if you're still early in a career, but a great portfolio, which is a good place to be in, which means you have all the technical skills. The biggest thing is like finding the stability, because if you're not actively searching for freelance gigs and works and not just focusing on the pure creative, you're not going to last too long. That's the hard part. And just because you do better work, it's not necessarily going to equate to immediate money in your pocket either. So you could be putting out amazing specs. I've seen Jay's work before. It's fantastic. The problem is that 90% of the other game is actually just marketing. Like, is your work getting out to the right people? Are you actually finding that recurring work that's going to keep you afloat? And if not, it's okay to just move into like just a regular job for now, or at least find a job if you're curious to be in like under a production company, like work as like another role while you still do directing on the side.
This actually reminds me of that story you were telling me about that guy who's making Apple boxes.
Yeah. I have a friend that's also in the filmmaking space too. And, I was talking to him, I'm like, the industry stuff, right? Like things are shifting up and down and all this stuff. Like, but the big thing is a lot of the filmmakers I know, and even us included, like we have to find other ways to balance out the roller coaster of productions.
Yeah.
Right? Productions are up and down. You never really know where things are going or coming. Sometimes it could be really, really strong. Sometimes it could be a little bit weaker. But the thing is, what are you going to do in the middle to fill in those gaps? And then sometimes those gaps become larger than you think, right? And you're like, wait, I actually enjoy this other thing I'm doing. So that could be digital products, that could be coaching, that could be doing other side hustles that interest you, right? I know a guy that started making jerky because he was just really good at it, and he knew what he was doing, right? Going to like farmers markets and stuff like that and selling it. It's like, cool. It's like a hobby that transitions, but it continues you and allows you to like continue working and building. And so again, there's absolutely no shame. Like, if you go to like a place like New York, like everyone's got like 2-3 jobs, like they're just grinding and hustling. And regardless of where you're at, there's always a level of grinding and hustling, but it requires you to think intently of like, I know my long-term goal is directing, right? I want to keep doing this. I love this. I'm good at it. But to continue to get there and to not let the dream die, I need to figure out and do what's necessary to get there. And so sometimes it's hustling for a freelance job, but sometimes it's just doing a job, and then in your free time, you're just doing other projects at the same time.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Hey guys, if you're finding this conversation useful, you should check out our client brief checklist over on Set Memory, which is our whole library of filmmaking assets that we've built over the years. So check it out. It's free. Let's dive right back into it.
Let's look at the next question.
Sweet.
And this comes from TravelMug15. Hey guys, love your stuff.
Thanks.
Thank you. I took your advice about making some spec ads and putting together a decent reel. I think it really helped in terms of becoming a better filmmaker, but now I'm struggling on using them to find work. I think an episode about what to do with your spec ads after making them / how to leverage your work into new clients would be a huge help for people trying to break into the industry like myself. Keep up the great work. Look forward to future episodes.
Sweet.
This one's for you.
Thanks.
So, how do you market your spec ads after you've done them?
Yeah, if I dwindle everything down from a spec, the whole concept is leverage, right? And so I'll tell you a story that really hits deep for me because this is my life. And before I got into filmmaking in the end of 2018, I had been working retail, but then I moved into trying to like start my own company and stuff like that. Yeah. And I was selling custom suits, like suiting, right? That was what I was into before all the filmmaking stuff. And we'd been making really good suits. Like we knew from the best suppliers, the quality was great, the design was great, everything was like top notch. Like I know that too because I'm not just being like cocky about it. Like I knew the qualities like of Keaton, Lower Piana, like all these big brands and clients, and like because I was working in retail for such a long time, I knew where we were sitting in the market. Mm-hmm. The biggest problem was, regardless of how good our suits were, no one knew who we were. And so we were just sitting on nothing. We were just waiting for people to come to us and find us.
Why didn't anyone know who you were?
Because how would they?
True.
I wasn't even out there. Like we didn't put any marketing. We didn't really like show ourselves in any capacity there. And then we just sat there and we're like, oh shoot, we have this really cool thing, but like nothing's happening. What can we do? What can we change? And it all comes down to putting yourself out there. And in most cases, the world is so big. And even though, for example, we have like, say 80K subscribers on YouTube, that's like the tiniest percentage of all time of people that know who we are. Yeah. And so locally, we might think like, oh, people kind of know who we are. But then even if you go like 2 blocks over, it's like, oh no, these people, they never figured out who we were yet. Yeah. And so with the suits thing, it's like we had to fold the whole thing because like we just weren't doing the marketing to just unfold. Yeah, we just couldn't. We didn't do the marketing for it. And when you move over to spec, the concept is exactly the same. It does not matter how good your spec is.
Have you seen that guy on like TikTok and stuff? That Taylor guy?
No.
He's like super out of pocket. Yeah. His clients will come in and he'll start touching them a little weird and be like, fantastic young boy needed a suit.
Yeah. That's don't market like that. But it does work.
But everyone knows who he is.
It doesn't work, yeah.
But do you think if you did that?
No, I'm not gonna touch people. That's a little too far.
Okay, but going back to the story.
Going back to spec, you need to touch people. So when you do spec, regardless of how good you are and what scale and level you are, it's leverage, right? So it becomes a tool for you to go out there and actually put it in front of people. Yeah. And so if you're not doing the other 80% of the work, like spec is like 20% of it, right? It's like you can do a cool job, but then if no one knows it or doesn't see it, it's like, does it fall in the forest? You know what I mean? It's like that whole tree analogy, right?
Yeah. Okay, that's interesting. Because if you are saying that spec is 20% of the job, I feel like a lot of people will be in a position where they're looking at all this great work coming out on like their Instagram feeds or whatever it may be, right? Yeah. And they see like this like goal of, I really want to make something as good as that. Yeah. So in their mind, as I feel like I've been here so many times, I've internalized that 100% of my goals and my energy should be dedicated to making this great piece that I'm really proud of. Yeah. Right. So when you say that that's actually only 20% of what you should be doing, how should someone in this position be looking at that? Yeah. Like how are you supposed to visualize, okay, if I have 7 days of the week this week to work on this, and I should only actually be dedicating 20% of my time to the spec, what does the rest of that week look like?
Yeah. So let's pull this all the way back. Okay. You should absolutely put 100% of your energy into the spec.
For sure.
Right? But then your current level of where your 100% is might not be at that scale or level that you're looking at the work that you're referencing, right? Or you're seeing out there. Because even if you put 100% of all your energy right now into a spec and you have $1,000 max cap, do you think your 100% is the same 100% as someone that has $1 million budget to work with? Absolutely not. So the whole thing is you can only give 100% of where you're currently at, and then all your time and energy needs to be finding the right market for that spec, right? And then like that's how you start to scale up, and that's how you start to get more practice. So say you do your spec, it levels you up one new notch, right? Then you go out there and find out who are all the clientele that wants to hire me at this current notch. And then boom, you suddenly make more money and you get a little bit more skill because you're practicing. And then say next quarter, you're like, it's time for the next spec. Now you're already at this new level. You want to go 1 or 2 levels higher. You have more money. Now you've evolved, right? So your 100% keeps going up. And then also the references that you look at are constantly going up as well. So you're always chasing for this new level. So I'm not saying like you put 20% of your energy into a spec. You put 100% of your energy into the spec, and then you move and put all your energy into the marketing of it, right? And then you have to go back and forth versus what happens if you do too much spec at once. Then also you get put into this corner where you're like, okay, cool. I've leveled up a few times for these specs, but I don't have any systems to sell these projects. And that's oftentimes what's happening for both Jay and, this new person.
Travel Mug 15.
And for this new person, Travel Mug 15. It's like, you're currently at the first stage where you did your spec. Amazing. That's the system that you're learning. You're getting comfortable with it. Now you have to go out there and do the super uncomfortable part. Filmmaking is hard because most of it is selling and most of it is business, and people don't realize that.
So what's like a simple way, like an easy way that, or not necessarily an easy way, but for a beginner who's never marketed their stuff before,
For sure.
and let's say they already have like a great piece of work that they have, right? Or maybe they have a project coming up that they're planning, they're going to shoot in like a week or so. What should they also be thinking about when it comes to marketing that work as well?
Yeah, this is a way broader picture thing that we teach in CPM because you kind of need to know who your target is as well. But the question is, are you doing the bare minimum? Are you finding the right people? Are you getting the attention that you need? And so for a beginner that's just kind of starting out and needs to like build a network, the network is everything, right? All your work, all your money, everything that's going to come through to you is through your network. And so if your network's small, then you get a small pie of everything, right? And so the most easy thing you can do is start adding all the local filmmakers that you have in your circle, find them, actively approach them, see who is out there, right? You're just going to make a lot of money through the people that you know. So when I met Justin's like, Justin had a job and now I'm going to be brought into a job too because we're friends and like we have other resources and he needs help.
Yeah.
Right. And so that's the most basic stuff. And even this even replies back to Jay as well. Is like, yeah, you could be doing really great stuff in that kind of commercial world and pushing, but who are the people that are going to be growing with you that are landing the jobs? Because if you're really strong creative, then you also need someone that's really strong at the sales side of things that's going to help you balance the whole thing out. And so first thing, add a ton of people on Instagram because that's probably the easiest way you can get direct messaging, reach out to them, talk to them, compliment them, all those little things that we talk about. And then secondly, it is figuring out like who are these like potential small brands and businesses that exist that you want to reach out to. And they're never going to find you. You actually have to go find them. So the first like 2 years, it's just literally going and being like, use ChatGPT now, which is like, who are the small businesses in the fashion world, if that's my niche. You could do who's the small businesses in the candy world, if that's something that you're interested in, right? Like you have your own North Star and what you kind of like in your unfair advantages. For me, it was like, sports, and I like the athleisure world. So I went for like Lululemon, Reigning Champ, like all these like kind of like medium to large size, medium, small size running brands, but there was always a variation of something. And there's always someone out there that needs work for content, commercial, whatever that might be. And so you have to actively go out there and get it done because there's literally so many videographers, directors, DPs, especially in our market, that if you're not the one going out there grabbing the work itself, then people are not going to find you. Hey everyone, just want to take a quick break from the podcast to talk about the Spec Playbook, which is our free 21-day email course where we walk you through for 21 days how to actually land 10K plus projects. So if you've been interested in learning the skills, the thought processes, and also the frameworks that we use to get and land those projects, especially when we were first starting, so check it out in the description below and let's get back to the conversation.
This even reminds me of my friend who, like a year ago, maybe it's like 2 years now, was starting his agency, not really a production company because he's more of a producer. He's starting an agency, and he would tell me that he would spend like 2 hours every day just on LinkedIn, just connecting with either like local, but even like larger scale brands like a Lululemon or something like that.
Yeah.
Connecting with the people who work there on like the marketing side or whatever it may be. I don't really know because it's not my expertise.
Yeah.
But he would just go ham on LinkedIn and like connect with them, find like their personal emails and stuff. And then after he would wrap a project, he would send them the project directly to their personal email. And like sometimes he would even send them a case study with that project attached to it. Just breaking down like, hey, this is what we did for it. This is what the goal was. This is the outcome and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And like now he's working with like huge brands on like huge campaigns that like he's the executive producer for.
Yeah.
Which just goes to show you there's lots of tools out there online that you can leverage to grow that network rapidly. But also he's very meticulous and very professional in his approach.
Yeah.
Because he's been doing this for like a little while. So what I would say is shoot your shot. There's lots of ways you can shoot your shot. And these people who are in charge of the big money are a lot more accessible than you may think.
Yeah.
But at the same time, put your best foot forward.
Yeah. This is actually how we got all of our work in the beginning. Mm-hmm. And also the majority of the work that, our students do if you're going for more of the business side of things. And so LinkedIn is like the easiest place. If you want fast money and to be able to land jobs quickly, that's going to be the place because all the decision makers are there. The average income discrepancy is very large there. It's like 75K per person on average on LinkedIn versus on Instagram. It can be very shifted because of those, people are just spending more time just hanging out there. So discoverability is very different on both platforms. So if you just go on LinkedIn, you just need to have a very specific strategy going forward of like, who are you reaching out to? Typically marketing leads, creative directors, senior marketing, people in the actual business itself. And then you have to do like a multi-prong attack as well. Yeah. And so there's a lot of parts to this. And with the multi-prong attack, it's like you said, it's about the email, about the messaging on LinkedIn itself. And then that's going to be the most direct way you can get into people's messaging. Yeah. You just need to know to be persistent and to be continually checking up on people because it's not always they're going to be checking up right now. So you want to be able to be, hit them back up a few weeks from now and be like, hey, just wanted to check up on you, see if you were still interested or want to chat about things on the business side. But again, like everything we're saying here, it's all a relationship-based thing. If your first thing you do is open up a question and you are asking for something, people are going to run away from you, right? It's just too intense. So you have to do soft asks. You have to do soft compliments because that's really where you're going to have these conversations. And you need other people to talk about themselves, right? It's not always about me, give me jobs, I need money, whatever. It comes off very desperate, comes off very like intense sometimes. Even if it's like a nice thing, like, oh, I will come shoot for you for free. It's like, to you, that might seem like it's a nice thing, but to the other person, it's like, I already got a team.
I don't even know you.
I don't know who you are.
You could kill me.
Yeah. You could just like want to take my whole business, Like you can come in here onto the set, which I've had to happen before, and like they're just starting to chat up the client and stuff like that. Yeah. I'm like, we're in the middle of a job we're doing for that client. Yeah. It's like we didn't bring you on to have you sell to our client. We're here, like we hired you for something specifically. So, a lot of these things too, is like you guys have to also self-audit yourself of like, if I was getting that message, how would I react? And don't be like, oh yeah, well, I would obviously answer that. It's like, no. Think of being in a position where the person is extremely busy. They don't know who you are. You have no context of anything. Is that a good message?
This is a really good topic. It's actually one of the questions that we got. So we're going to come back to this. It's the last question, so make sure you stick around till the end. But this next question we have up here, it's pretty interesting. It comes from Infante rambles. Infant rambles?
One of those.
There's an E at the end. This might sound like a silly question, but how do I find 5,000 quality commercials to watch? Do I just look up any brand I might know and look up their past commercials, or maybe look for commercial directors / DPs and look at their past work? Any other way? What do you recommend, Mr. Dan?
I love it. References are everything. Me and Juanjo have been going through a crazy amount of references recently,
Yep.
which we'll tell you about soon. But the thing with 5,000 commercials is you want to have a good sense of like where to start and where to end, because that could go on forever. References could be very overwhelming. There's references everywhere. So you just have to find the easiest direction for you. And typically it's going to be Vimeo, right? We don't like to go on YouTube so much because it's kind of like scattered. It's more discovery.
Yeah.
When you go on Vimeo, it's very specific to finding exactly what you're looking for. The problem is when you go search up the word Nike, for example, you get the most random Nike shoe video that's
There's
just
like
a dude
random
walking
stuff
on
everywhere,
the floor.
yeah.
Yeah. So then it can be a little overwhelming. There's also places like FrameSet, which is a little bit more search focused. So then you are going in there and like search for the word basketball, but then you get everything basketball related.
It's a really good visual resource.
It's a great visual resource, especially for treatments and stuff like that.
Yep.
And over time, as we're kind of building out CPM and doing more stuff with our students, the big thing we realize is like there's so many different variations of references. And a car commercial can have 20 variations of the same car
For sure.
and just different styles, like a rolling shot, and this one's like more story based or whatever. And so we were actually spending the last like month or so just focusing and building out a director's reference library, which is something that we've created for our students that gives you the understanding of like, is this an easy project? Is this a hard project? Or is this like a medium hard project? And that's just to give everyone a sense of like, if we were going to create something for spec based on this reference, how difficult would it be? And this was a deep dive for us because we realized like, it just takes a long time to watch references.
For sure.
Like you've probably spent so much time now and watched and deep dive like, you know, Jimmy Neutron style, like every single reference out there. And even from that, it's like, that's why we created this library. It's like, it's to make it easier for us to understand that some projects are very difficult to do.
Yeah.
For example, what was the hardest one? Like a car commercial?
Anything that's like a montage commercial,
Yeah.
especially like a montage car commercial,
Killer.
insane. Like you need so much resources, so much money for that.
Yeah. And that's not always the best place to start for spec.
Yeah,
so
it might look super cool,
it
but
looks cool. I would love to do
like,
it.
can you do it?
Yeah. And it's like, no, I don't even have a car. How am I going to do this? So, you know, this is why we created this. If you guys are interested, you can check it out in the description below. We're going to link it for you guys. It's free to check out. It's also for all of our students as well in CPM. And we're going to be constantly updating this. So we're going to be putting new references that we like, things for you to explore and check out. So you don't have to go and find random references that don't make sense.
Yeah.
We're also categorizing it per genre. So if you're a food person or a narrative person, you can check that out and keep refreshing it. We'll keep you guys updated on when we update that. So yeah, go on Vimeo.
Yeah,
Check it out.
It's really cool. Okay, moving on to this next question. William Aiken says, and this is in relation to the whole concept of the gear trap that we were talking about on an earlier episode. I mean, there is a truth to the gear trap, though. It's a running joke that everyone who says it's a trap has all the gear. Gear isn't as important, but as you evolve, so does the versatility. And sometimes that means different tools, like a lens, a light, a gimbal, a rig, etc.
It's interesting because we've talked about this before. And there's actually like a non-linear scale to how gear moves, right? So as you get better, you don't necessarily need to get more gear.
Yeah, you start hitting a point of diminishing returns.
Exactly. So yeah, you can keep upgrading your cameras and everything, but it's better to just like get better technically and your storytelling and how to actually work on references, everything behind the scenes.
Yep.
And then the gear is just a facilitation of like the tools, right? It's like what tools best gonna serve this story.
No hardware, more hard skills.
Put that on a shirt somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, we realized this quickly too. It's like you could go so deep into one angle, but then if it doesn't work the best for how you approach your projects, for example,
Yeah.
then it's not really helpful for you. I'll use my example all the time with like, I don't necessarily love larger cameras when speed is the highest priority, right? When you need to get multiple shots or when the setup needs to be faster, because we're already, say we're shooting a montage commercial and you have like 30 scenes in a day, like you're already way over budgeting your time. And so if you're losing 5 minutes per lens swap or 3 extra minutes per movement of your camera because you have extra, it's a larger body, you need more hands and people to help out, like that stuff stacks up very quickly. And I'm talking like the minuscule changes, right? And then what happens is that just stacks up in anxiety for the shoot. So when you know what you need and you master your camera, like say it's an FX3, you know it inside out, then is switching to a larger camera really going to give you that much more gains? Right. I think there's like a big sell and a optic sell to the world. I'm not going to lie about this, right? You see it go online, we push this stuff too. Like it's a big camera. It looks cool. Everyone wants to do that. Everyone wants to work with a big camera. But if you don't know what that comes with, then is that what is going to best serve the project? And I'm not going to stop people from trying new cameras because they always want it. Like you want to level up, right? That's kind of the whole game. But then there comes a point where like you do it enough times and you're like, am I missing shots now? Am I losing out on the creativity that I used to have? And if it is, like you have to start to have a much more self-realization of like, do I need this?
Yeah, I think for me personally, it reminds me of when me and my friends first started our production company Doghouse together. And when we first started, it was straight out of school and we were very scrappy and we were very content with jobs. Like any jobs that come our way, no matter like what it is, we're like, oh my God, people are paying us. This is kind of sick, right? And we found ourselves very quickly shoehorned into a niche of doing photography. Even though that's not really what we wanted to do, like it's
just a service that ended up happening.
It's the opportunity that was presented to us. We were like, this is awesome. But they were very low budget stuff. And, we were all very excited to be there. But, I would bring on like maybe like 3, 4, or 5 people to help me out. And we would do the shoot and it would go great. But they'd be very small budget. It'd be like $500. And, we had like all a collective agreement that, we're going to take this money, we're going to put it into like a pool and then we're going to save it up and then we're going to buy what we need with it, fund our next projects or whatever. Pretty smart idea. But as we kept doing this, we were like, we're not getting paid to do any of this. We don't even really know if this is what we want to do. Like, what are we really doing here? So the first problem was we didn't really have a direction with what we were doing with ourselves, which is very important to the story because we realized none of us are getting paid. And what is eating away at this budget when we do have to use it is when we have to buy strobes, when we need lighting for these photo shoots. So we were like, we should take this money. We saved up a couple like $1,000 at this point. We were like, we should take this money and we should buy some strobes because it'll elevate our photography and we won't eat into our budget anymore. Every time we need to rent lights. And that was like the biggest issue for us at the time. We kept having to rent strobes or go like across the city and borrow strobes from a friend. And we're like, okay, yeah, great. This is like the immediate problem that we have. And our immediate solution is to just sink our money into buying the strobe. But then looking back on it now, I haven't done photography in years. And if I had bought that strobe, it would have just been like lying around. You know what I mean? So I think the moral to the story is it's very easy to be in a position where you're going like job to job and you're content with it. And that's totally fine if that's like your bread and butter, like go for it. But it's very easy when you're in that loop of like, okay, I'm making money, I'm happy with it, but these jobs aren't very big at all. So I'm going to start spending this money on the immediate solutions. It's almost like bandages on like a huge crack in a dam. Jason Dam.
That's it. Great analogy.
If I buy this light, like, yeah, great, but am I going to use this light forever? No, there's going to be a time when I outgrow it and I have no use for it. And then it just becomes like a useless thing. And it comes with a sense of like, the actual problem was I didn't have a sense of direction within my career and this company as a whole. And if we kept wanting to do photography and that was the main goal, then great, a strobe would have been a great investment, but it wasn't. So all this to say, do you really need that gear long term? And are you buying this because it is actually what you need, or is it just because it is a stopgap between your next $500 gig?
You know what's crazy? Now that we've got to where we are now and we can look back at stuff with a little bit more reflection, there's been so many times where how easy it is to justify buying gear.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm going to need this forever.
I use this every day.
Every day. And then example from us was like, we landed this job and we're like, we need 2 more cameras right away. Let's just buy 2 red Komodos because they just came out. And we're like, sick. And then we started shooting with it for the project, and we're like, this is not even the right tool for this project.
Yeah, the
We just wanted to buy
huge.
stuff. Yeah, so we spent like $30K or whatever at that time with like all the gear and accessories and all that stuff. Like, and then we just had 2 red Komodos sitting there for no reason.
Yeah.
And we're like, what are we doing? Like the FX3 was totally fine. We just tricked ourselves in our brain that we're like, every project needs a red Komodo.
2 red Komodos.
2 red Komodos for some reason, because like we need an A and B cam, obviously. It's like, and then really we've gone to a point where like a lot of the cameras that we own now are like FX3s and FX30s as the bulk majority.
Yeah.
And then there's the Venice in the system, but like that's, for like certain projects, and wherever that sits, like it's for a purpose. And so I'm not gonna tell people that if you're shooting photos every single day and you absolutely need it, like you've already spent more money renting it than you have buying it, you might as well buy it.
Yeah, it'll
right?
pay for itself.
That'll pay for itself because it's actually within the system and you're gonna use it all the time. It is the extra little bits that are so easy to fall into this trap, and especially when you're like a solo videographer, like I was, and I was like, oh shoot, I need to do audio now. Like I'm doing interviews. What do? I need to go buy a mic, an audio mic, or whatever.
Yeah, I need to go buy a mic, and now I need to buy a boom
stand,
pole, and now I need to buy an audio
C-stand,
mixer.
And then I'm like, cool. I just spent like $2,500 on all this audio gear.
I could have paid $500 for an audio guy.
And then I never use it anymore. Like, sure. It's like we use it here and there, but that's where it's okay to make these adjustments. But then when you have like 416 cameras, like why do you have so much? You don't need that much really, unless you've come to the conclusion that you keep renting this. It costs so much money, and like you've done it for like a year plus. Because sometimes it's nice to just sit there, not buy it, and then like a month from now be like, oh shoot, I really didn't need to buy that. Like I'm still good.
Yeah.
I figured out another solution.
I do that so many times with like clothes.
Yeah. Like, oh, I can drop 4Gs on this. I'm not dropping 4Gs on clothes, but like, a camera's a big decision. And so it's like, how much use case are you really getting out of it?
Yeah.
Because it's so easy to sit there being like, of course I need this. This is the most important thing in my life right now. I'll use it for this, for this, for this. And then when it actually shows up to you, you're like, why do I have this? I'm not even using it for any of this. So, going a little bit of circles here, just figure out what you actually need. Do more work, right? Figure out where your real pain points and problems are, and then see if there's a resourceful angle first.
Yeah.
Can you find that thing through a friend? And if you don't have any friends, like we talked about earlier,
Go make some friends.
go make some friends, network, go talk, bring some people out for coffees, whatever that is. Like go out there and talk to people. And then suddenly you opened up a whole new pool of resources, cameras, lenses, things that you can borrow from other people for a fraction of the price. And you get done for that one project, you give it back to them, and you're like, sweet, I spent $50 for that rental instead of $2,500 for a lens that is just going to sit there.
Yeah, exactly.
So get the core, right? Get the core stuff you need, like a 24-70, for example, and like a body. That's kind of all you need, and then everything else is considered specialty at that point.
Get the basics. And if you want to keep going down that videography route, absolutely no problem with it. Start investing in the things that you actually need to use all the time.
Yeah.
But if that's not what you want to do, which is what happened with us, I'm assuming it would happen with you guys.
Invest in yourselves.
Don't do that. Yeah.
Yeah, invest in yourselves, not the gear.
Okay. Last question. And this one is super interesting because I feel like there's 2 different perspectives here that we've all been on. So I'm interested to hear your take on it. White Dirt Productions says, I get anxiety knowing that there's a DM in there from someone with the best of intentions. I appreciate their energy. I respect the relationship I do have with them, but actually working together doesn't make any sense for where I'm heading and where they're at right now. They want what I offer, but they definitely can't afford it, nor do they have the same motion. God forbid. So sometimes it's best to just not reply because you never have the right words for them without that glaring disparity between you and them.
So is the context here more on people reaching out to you to like help out on set, or is this like a client thing?
I think this is when you're at a certain level now,
Yeah.
and then you start getting those DMs from people that are like, yo, Like, let me hop on the set. Like, we were touching on this earlier.
Yeah.
Let me hop on the set. Let me help you out. Like, I'll come for free. Whatever it may be. Just getting like that kind of bombardment of people kind of reaching out to you, looking for an opportunity.
Yeah. There's my classic story here, which is when I first started out, I was reaching out to larger production companies, and they're like, yeah, I'll think about you in the future.
Mm-hmm.
And then I just kind of put one on one together. It's like, oh, that's going to be like a boilerplate story that I'm going to hear often.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, we'll think about you in the future. We'll think about you in the future. It happens for clients, happens for wherever you're trying to go, right? Let's talk about this from both perspectives, like kind of like where we're currently at, and then from the perspective of like the person that's asking and reaching out.
Mm-hmm.
When you're like where we're at right now too, it's like it's never a problem with you asking. First of all, it's like how you ask, right? And then what the intentions are. And then sometimes we just don't need that person right now.
Yeah.
Right. So if you're asking to be like a BTS person for us or whatever, right? First of all, like figuring out how to get into a conversation with us and then building rapport. And then in the future, you can ask that. Right. But if it's the first ask, it's going to be really difficult. Secondly, when you are asking things like that, you got to imagine that we already have a team that we've been building up together for like years. Right. And so there's always like first rights of refusal to the other folks that are with us before it gets to anyone new. Because like you said before, I don't know who you are.
I don't know who you are.
I've never worked with you before. You're not vouched from anyone. It's like your intentions are great, but then I don't owe you anything and you don't owe me anything, technically, right? It's like we have to build this relationship up to get to a place where we trust each other.
Yep.
And so I think he was saying like, well, should you respond to someone too?
Yeah.
The biggest thing is sometimes you're just busy. And so sometimes I miss people too. But sometimes when you catch me at the right time, it's like my response is just going to be, hey, maybe it's not the right time right now, right? But, you know, I also have to do like a quick gauge check on how good people are, because if I see that this person's already ambitious and they're hungry and they're already doing work without me asking, like I don't want to be the barrier that's stopping someone from progressing in their careers and their lives, right? It's like they're asking me, it's like, and then if I say no, are they going to quit? Like I don't want
That's
that.
the
feeling.
last straw.
Yeah, like that was it. Like I don't want to work anymore. It's like when I was in that position, it actually pushed me to be better and to go and grab the work for myself.
Mm-hmm.
And so for a lot of these people that are coming up right now, it's like don't feel like if you get rejected or not responded to or ghosted or whatever, that it's a personal thing. Like this stuff, none of this stuff is personal. Right? If it was personal, I'd be like, no, I don't like you. Why would I ever say that? It's just more so like I'm just busy with my own life and things that I'm doing, that if I am going to respond, it's like, hit me back in 6 months.
Mm. Hit me back in 6 months and what?
And see, gives me a chance to see if you've done anything in the last 6 months.
If you're a man of your word.
If you're a man of your word. Because it's like, the ask is also equally like, I'm going to go and prove. You should have that little underdog on your chip on your shoulder type of thing.
Yeah.
It's like, you just got to go and get it. Right. And it's like, I love that you're asking, because that's exactly what we tell and preach people. It's like, you have to be asking all the time. You have to be okay with the rejection, but then it's like how you respond to the rejection that's going to change everything.
Yeah.
Are you going to take it like, I'm not going to like screw these guys, I'm going to burn their business down? Or is it like, cool, I understand, I want to get to that position too. So let me just keep putting in work, doing my own spec projects, going out there, marketing. I want you to be bigger than us. Right? Because then it changes the scales up. And then we're like, oh, we see not necessarily value, because like everyone has value somewhere, but it's like the value in the moment, right? It's like, do we need BTS person at this moment? Maybe not. Mm-hmm. But if you're leveling up your skills, if you're putting in that energy, and then you're coming back to us 6 months later, you're like, hey, these are my last 3 projects that I did in the last 6 months. Then suddenly I'm like, yo, that's sick. It's almost like I'm keeping tabs on people, right? And so when you're coming back and you're putting that energy in, it's exciting for both parties. And it removes any permission stress, which is what we always talk about. It's like, you're not waiting for my permission for you to continue with your career. Mm. You're asking because you're kind and you want to ask and you want to work with us and you want to learn. I love that. But don't let us be the thing that's going to stop you.
Yeah. I think another thing here is I also get DMs every now and then, which always surprises me. I'm like, what do you think I'm? But I always get DMs, and I also sometimes get anxiety replying to them. Just because I am not really as active on social media.
Yeah.
So I'm not as used to interacting with strangers online. My mom told me not to do that. So I try not to. But sometimes I do get those DMs and I get that anxiety because I'm like, oh, I don't know like how to like
How do I
turn
fit
this.
you into?
Yeah, I don't know how to fit you in. Like, I don't think it makes sense. Like, I don't know how to turn you down in like a nice and respectful
Yeah.
way. So I also get like that feeling of I just want to put it off. But at the same time, like I always do think back to when I was in the position of looking for opportunities from other people, and I kind of internalize it in a way of I don't owe these people anything who are asking for an opportunity, but I kind of owe it to my younger self of I might not be able to get you a job right now or get you on set. Like it just doesn't make sense. But I kind of owe it to people who are willing to ask to at least like spit some game at least.
Yeah,
Give
yeah.
them some advice. Of being like you said, like hit me back in like 6 months. Like put in the effort. Like you might not necessarily be at the right level where it makes sense for me to bring you on. But if you're like about it and you put in the work, then we can see again in 6 months. And people can take that in two ways. They can either be like what you said, like, oh, like who's this guy think he is?
Yeah.
And that's not great. That's not healthy. But a healthy and productive way to take that is, oh, like this guy took the time out of his day to give me some free advice. I'm going to take that advice and get better. And if they do end up getting better, they're going to remember you as the person who gave them that advice.
Also, they might not even need us at that point.
Yeah.
Like that's kind of the snowball effect that if I remember back to the days where like I was just asking, it was because I wasn't doing.
Mm-hmm.
And so the doing part, like I wasn't doing enough work, I wasn't practicing enough, all these different things, it made me more anxious about everything.
Yeah.
Right? Like I don't know if this is working, I don't know, like all these little things. It's a bit of like a catch-22 here because you're like, okay, it's not so much about asking a higher up right now that you need. It's asking around the same level as you are. Find the folks that, we talk about this. Like, if you're reaching out to me right now, I'm just like not thinking about that stuff right now. I'm not thinking about the work. I'm not thinking like I have other things on my plate. And so you asking me, it's not a reflection on like you or me at this moment, right? Like that, don't go so deep into it. It's just like, I'm just not doing any jobs. So
Yeah.
at the moment, it's like, you can just go like, you'd be better off finding other groups of people that are at your level working and then like building your own crew. So then you have more flow and more jobs. Like I can't provide that stuff for you right now. And so that's not like, it almost makes me feel pressure because I'm like, well, I can't give you anything. It's similar to what you were saying, right? It's like, I don't know where to slot you right now. So, it's like, you can't make these like wide sweeping assumptions. The best thing you can do is just reach out to people, ask nicely, try to build rapport first, because I'd rather you start a conversation with someone, ask the right questions, build a real relationship, and then 6 months down the line, then you maybe ask a question or ask to be a part of something. Because then, I'm gonna automatically bring you on if you're in Toronto, for example, and like you are actually nice to chat with and we're just chatting and shooting the stuff, right? It's like you don't need to ask me at that point. I'll actually probably reach out to you first and then start that conversation to be like, hey, I've seen you already doing all this stuff. You want to jump on set? Like that's what trust looks like, right? So build that first and then do an ask.
Yeah. That's what happened to me. That's why we're here.
That's why we're on the pod.
Anyways, that's all the questions we have for today.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much for watching the Unfold podcast. Thank you for always leaving your comments. If you guys have any questions that you would like for us to answer, leave them below and then we'll try and get back to them.
Yep.
Hopefully this was helpful for you guys. If it was, make sure to check out all the links in the descriptions. We have tons of great resources for you guys, like the director's reference library.
Big one, new one. And also, if you guys want to learn the actual spec work playbook that we've created, it's a 21-day email course. It's all free. Shows you exactly what our systems are, how we actually got to where we are through spec work. And so if you're interested in learning that, link in the description below. And again, thank you guys all for joining us for this Q&A. We'll be back, hopefully do more of these because it's quite fun. Drop your questions. If you guys have anything that you're dealing with in your business, your life, your filmmaking, let us know below. And we'll see you next week. See ya.
Peace.